Hey everyone, what's poppin', what's tea? It's your girl Spicy Niche, and I am back this week again for another Men's Club review. Now, before I go any further, I just want to thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you to everyone who liked this video, comments on my videos every week. Most importantly, those who subscribe, shares, and just everyone who tunes into my videos every single week. I really appreciate you guys. It's been a very long journey for me. And without further ado, we're going to get into The Men's Club, episode 11 and 12, aka the season finale. Let's talk about it. We open with the entire Garber family in the living room. First of all, why were they wearing all black like it's a funeral? I'm expecting the lawyer to read the will or something because everybody's dressed in all black like Aminu's father has died. But no, instead, he reads a document that states that, if anything should happen to Aminu's father before their will is read, Patrick is in charge of everything. Now, Aminu's mother and Patrick have their usual back and forth, in which she says, oh, you're a bastard. Her usual banter, and then they kick Patrick out. We then see Jasmine waiting in Patrick's office, awaiting to hear what Alaji's will said. But Patrick informs her that, Alaji's lawyer is way too loyal to tell him of all people what was in the will. So then Jasmine is like, oh, we have to get in that house. We have to get Aminu's mom out of that house. We have to get the will to see what it says. And, Patrick is just kind of like, how do you want me to do that? And Jasmine is like, don't worry. Once we get in that house, just leave it to me and my mom. We will find a way. Tumini sets up a link up for the guys just to kind of help cheer Aminu up. Kojo is also there at the outing, and upon speaking about the issue with Patrick, he's like, oh, of course I'm going to get fired soon. And then he looks at his phone and he's like, oh, I spoke too soon. Patrick has fired me. And then while at the outing, Louis gets a call saying that Tonya has moved the court date up to today. So he has to leave the guys and go attend to the whole court thing with Tonya and Ola and Lola and the whole abuse situation that was mentioned in the last episode. While this is going on, we see Lola at the IVF. Now, I really wish that they would have leveraged this as an opportunity to educate us about IVF, like what that process looks like, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going through this or that are looking to go into this that, would have loved to know more. But no, this doctor was so terrible. Like, I was genuinely trying to listen to what she was telling Lola, and it sounded like she was talking in circles. Like, what she was saying did not have head and tail. Anyways, we move on to see Lanre in his office. He gets a call from Tenny. She's telling him that, she's moving back to London, to take treatment and do all those kind of things. So then after that, he goes to the lounge to drink his problems away, like he's been doing a lot recently, in which Tessa comes over and he's like, yeah, do you have any of your stories to, comfort me and cheer me up? And she tells a story of, well, I have this friend, I'll call him, who was supposed to buy me a TV, and that's pretty much it. And, Lanre goes on to laugh, and I guess, she helps to cheer him up. He tells Tessa, I'll send you the money, and that is when Tayo walks in. Tayo comes in and he's looking really happy because whatever he said to Tunde made him forgive, Funmi. And as promised, she has awarded them the contract. But she asked them to submit like some type of proposal, and, Tayo was confused because he's like, oh, I thought the contract was already mine. And she's like, oh, just for, formality purposes and everything like that. Now, Hadiza is super excited about this and tells Tayo that they should start buying things. They should start, buying everything for the construction business and doing all that kind of stuff. And Tayo was a bit hesitant, and he's like, wait, let's make sure the contract goes all the way through before we start using more of the money from the loan. Lanre then says something that we're all thinking. He's like, so why did you take out the loan? And then Tayo was like, I had to. And then Lanre is like, yes, you had to take out a loan for the business, but then you still ended up with a handout deal. So did it even really make sense at the end of the day? Like, you said you wanted to do this on your own, but then still took a handout. So you might as well have taken the money from us that you don't have to pay plus interest. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I feel like I get why Tayo was trying to do something for himself. But again, like, what are friends really for if they cannot help you out in your time of need? Aminu and Louis then come in, and Aminu updates them on how Onome, his publicist, posted pictures of him and Tumini without their permission. Now, I was wondering what she was doing that for. If you guys remember in the last episode, while they were doing this photo shoot, she was like on the side with her phone, like taking pictures and videos. I guess to post it to claim the narrative and make it seem like, they're in love and Tumini is not a gold digger. Now, while he's explaining this, that's when his sister Liana calls and informs him that Patrick did a press release on the company. It's Louis's turn to share. So he goes on to share how the court case went and how the nanny ended up lying for Tonya, even though they tried to get to her. Now there's also a flashback scene to his mom in the office, and he's also explaining to her how everything, went down. And she actually takes responsibility for what happened with Tonya, which I was waiting for because it technically was her fault a little bit. She encouraged her to have this baby, and that's when, her family abandoned her because they didn't want someone who was a single mother. But Lewis encourages his mom and tells her, it's not your fault. It's Tonya. She's the one, being wicked and vindictive and all those kind of things. As all the guys are continuing to lament, Lewis just suggests that, maybe they should do like a day to just celebrate something, like just to celebrate and just wind down from all the different things that have been going on in each of their lives. Then we see the lovebirds, Lewis and Lola. Lola is complaining that, Lewis is the one who encouraged her to go do the IVF, and now he's making her come to all the appointments by herself. So Lewis promises her that, he will be at this next IVF appointment. Then we see Lanre's mom being dramatic. She's leaving, and Lanre is like, oh, please, what's all this dramatics? Like, seriously. And the sister's like, oh, don't talk to mom like that. Can't you see how she's looking sad? And, she's like, I'm going because I'm destroying your life. And I'm just looking at her like, oh, God, can we stop this drama now? What's the meaning of all this? But they eventually, make up, Lanre and his mom and sister, and they're all one big happy family now. And I'm happy about that because I just was like annoyed with all this Lanre and his mom drama. Then we see that Aminu has planted a mole in the organization just to kind of see what Patrick is doing. And Sunday comes to Aminu and tells him, hey, this is what's going on. Jasmine and her mother are attending all the financial meetings with Patrick. And so Aminu is just kind of wondering, what's going on there, as are we as well. So he tells Sunday to continue the investigation to figure out what exactly they're planning. Then Lewis's lawyer pays him a visit and says that, Tonya is pulling strings in court, so he might want to start pulling some strings too. Then we move on to see Aminu's mom by Alaji's bedside telling him, wake up, wake up, wake up. And that's when Aminu comes in and she's encouraging him to do the merger. Like, he must do this merger as soon as Alaji wakes up. And Aminu makes a valid point. He's like, oh, if I would have done this merger and Patrick would have taken over the company, then it would have been a really big problem for me. But his mom is like, no, you must do this merger. And that's when, Tumini comes in after Aminu agrees that, he'll do the merger. And Aminu's mom is now being super nice to Tumini, telling her, oh, come sit next to me. And then even telling her like, oh, that ring is looking bare. That finger is looking bare. We need to put a ring on it and all those kind of things. So I'm like, okay, so now you like Tumini, because it's like, she's very hot and cold. This entire season is like, 1 minute you like Tumini, 1 minute you don't like Tumini, 1 minute, oh, it's good. Then you're talking bad about her to Liana. Like, which one is it? But for now, I'm just going to say that she likes Tumini. I guess she just didn't like the insecurities of Tumini. As mentioned before, Lewis had promised Lola that he would be at this IVF appointment. But we see Lola at the IVF appointment by herself. And then the doctor is like, you're by yourself again? Like, the way that she just said it, I was like, no compassion. Like, which kind of actor is this? She's like, oh, you need to think about if you want to do this by yourself. I'm like, that's not how you speak to a patient. You say, oh, is your husband coming, or has he missed this one again? You really need to go home and think about, if this is something that you want to do, by yourself, just, examining the risk. Like, that's how you now talk as a doctor when you see this kind of sensitive situation. But the doctor is just she's just so flat. She's just so flat as an actor. Like, she's reading the words. She's not acting. That's what I will say. But anyways, yes, Lewis does not come to this IVF appointment, and Lola ends up going home, after the doctor's advice. Lanre then goes to the lounge to bother Tessa. He's like, I know I was supposed to send you the money for the TV, but instead, I'd rather take you to go get the TV so then I can know where you live and I can help you put it up and all these things. And I love how Tessa is calling BS on Lanre. She's like, actually, I don't want to be the girl that you mess with because you're heartbroken. I do admit that I really, really like you, like, a lot. Then she goes to talk about his smile, his smell, all these things. She don't know what, he's just so attractive. And she's like, but again, I don't want to be, the girl you mess with just because you're heartbroken. Once you get over her, then I feel like, maybe we can pursue things. But I would rather you just send me the money for the TV, which is exactly what Lanre does. We move on to Tiara and her dad having lunch, and that is when he's super excited to meet her new boyfriend. And then Tayo comes in and he's like, oh, oh, hi, Tayo, you know, so nice to see you after all this time. You know, I would have invited you to join us, but we're meeting Tiara's new boyfriend. And that's when Tiara's like, so actually, Tayo is the new boyfriend that I want you to meet. And you can imagine he has so much shock on his face. We then close out episode 11 with Lewis confronting Tonya. He asks Tonya what she wants, and she tells Lewis that she wants him to lose his family just like she lost hers. That's when she starts to explain how, you know, Lewis doesn't realize that after his mom's encouragement to have this baby, that was when her father then disowned her and said he didn't want to be with associated with somebody who was a single mother, and she knows she lost everything, and it's her mom that has been financially supporting her this entire time. And I really loved this scene because I feel like Lewis did not take accountability for how he made Tonya feel, and, you know, didn't think about any of the repercussions that his selfish act to divorce her and move on to Lola like she never existed would affect her. And that's when the babysitter runs downstairs and it's like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. And, you know, Olachi, their baby, is warm. And so they then rush her off to the hospital. And that's episode 11. So then we move on to episode 12, where we open with Aminu and Lewis in the lounge, and, you know, Aminu is just asking how Ola is doing. And that's when Lewis informs him that, you know, she just had an allergic reaction to peanuts, and then informs Aminu that, you know, Lola was actually the one who found out about this peanut allergy, and, you know, Tonya is being very negligent, and that she's definitely going to use this against her in court. And then Tonya had also mentioned that, you know, they're training Ola to love Lola more than her biological mother. And Lewis is going on to say, you know, he thinks that's another reason where the jealousy sparked from. Aminu also asks him how everything is going with the IVF. And then so we have a flashback where Lola and Tonya are sitting in the living room, and, you know, she's frantic. She's like, oh, the last time Lewis didn't answer, it was because, you know, he was in jail. So then Lewis comes in, and then Lola just lets him have it, like, oh, you know, where were you? And then when he tells her that he was with Tonya, she's like, oh, what happened to Ola now? Her nose was upside down. This. Her body was scratching her, and she just goes off. And then when Lewis finally lets her know that actually she had an allergic reaction and we had to rush her to the hospital, Lola feels really bad, and, you know, she apologizes. And then Lewis is like, you know, this is all my fault, you know, I should have made you a priority as well in the IVF and everything. And then is when Tenny goes over to them, and she's like, you know, Lewis, if men could apologize like you, it would save a lot of marriages. That is when Lanre and Tayo then come in, and Tessa brings more glasses for them. Now, when she does this, you see Lanre licking his lips like, you know how hunger has beaten you, and somebody brings you a nice hot plate of food, and the steam is going up, and you're just licking your lips, you're ready to eat. Yes, that is how Lanre looked at Tessa. And all the guys are like, they, you know, and so that's when Lewis just comes straight out and is like, so are you sleeping with my bar manager? And Lanre is like, no, we're just friends. Nothing is going on. But he's like, you know, I'm hoping that, you know, from friendship, it can grow into something more. Aminu then updates the guys on how, you know, he has Sunday, who's investigating everything that's going on within the company. And he found out that, you know, Jasmine's mom wants a very large lump sum of money transferred to her so that she can pay for certain projects for Patrick. And Sunday is very hesitant when Aminu lets him know that they should go ahead and give Jasmine's mom the money. But Aminu is doing that because he knows that if they don't give Jasmine's mom the money, they're gonna bring in one of their own people to handle all the financials of the company, and it's better to have, you know, an inside guy of theirs in, just so that, you know, they don't run all the family finances into the ground. And Aminu also lets Sunday know that they should have somebody following Jasmine's mom, because knowing her history, you know, once she gets this lump sum of money, she's probably going to disappear, knowing how the two of them move. Tayo then updates them on how things went with Tiara's dad. So Tiara's dad is really not happy with their relationship just because he knows that whenever they're together, Tiara tends to relapse. And, you know, Tiara's like, oh, don't talk to him like that. You know, he's your son-in-law. And then I guess Tayo's eyes kind of like
brighten up when she says that. And so Tiara's dad is like, I saw how his eyes look when you said son-in-law. This guy is not ready to marry you. You know, a C finish that used to cause this thing. He always sees you as just this little girl. He will never be serious about you. And then he storms off. And that is when Tiara looks at Tayo and she's asking, like, so you don't see us getting married, or why is my dad saying that you looked a certain type of way when I mentioned that you were his son-in-law? And that's when Tayo says, you know, he's a bit shocked because he never really thought that Tiara saw them and their relationship in that light. It's not that he doesn't want to marry her. It's just that at this present moment, he's not ready to marry her, you know, right now. But he's hoping that it's something that they can work towards in the future. While this is going on, Lanre, I guess, gets up drunk to go talk to Tessa. And this is when he tells Tessa that, you know, he wants something more than friendship, but he doesn't want anything serious. And so Tessa goes, you want me to fix you? And Lanre's like, yeah, and is there anything wrong with that? And Tessa's like, I'm not here to fix you. You know, I'm not a mechanic. And then so Lanre suggests that, you know, how about he just get to know her better while he is on this journey of healing. Then we see Aminu back at his house. He's speaking with Onome about how she put out the thing about them. I'm like, okay, let's wrap this up. She already apologized. Let's move on. That's when Onome hands him a bag. He looks in the bag and is like, did you check it? And she's like, yes and no. Then he hands the bag back to Onome and is like, I will come get this from you when I need it. Because Tumini walks in. And during the scene between Aminu and Tumini, this was about 18 minutes. Why did the audio cut out? Like, I couldn't hear any audio from them. And I was just like, ugh, this is annoying. I know what it's like when you record something and the audio is messed up, because I finished recording this entire video and realized that some parts had no audio. So I had to re-record this entire thing. So I'm like, you guys could have just re-recorded the scene or, you know, done something if the audio is messed up. Because if I can sit down and re-record my whole review for episode 12, then you guys can definitely redo that scene. Anyways, Tayo then goes to Tiara's dad's office to reconcile with him. And he does agree that Tayo and Tiara can date and they have his approval, even for marriage in the future, if that's something that Tayo wants to do. Lewis is in his office, and that's when Tonya comes in, and by my surprise, Tonya hands Lewis the signed divorce papers. And I was so relieved that she's finally come to her senses and we can put this behind us. But I was like, they were a little bit too close for comfort for me in this scene. Like, I was hoping that Lola wouldn't walk in and see them, because I was like, why are they so, like, bust and bust? Like, it's too much for me. But then Lewis just assures Tonya that, you know, he has her, whatever she needs. He's gonna be there for her, and she has his unwavering support, which was really nice because she really is on her own. And so they just both agreed to focus on being the best parents that they can be for their daughter, Ola. Then we move on to see the Garbas. Aminu's mom is killing me with these acting in these like very dramatic scenes. Apparently, Alaji squeezed her hand, so she called the doctor, only for them to say that, oh, his vitals are fine and he should be waking up soon. So that was pretty much that. I didn't really feel like this was necessary, but I guess, I mean, it's good news for us to hear that his vitals are fine and that he should be potentially waking up soon. Then we see Lewis and Lola and Tenny. Tenny is telling them that she booked her flight back to London just the day after their anniversary, and is also asking them what they're wearing to the beach party. Then we move on to see the beach party. It's like all the guys taking pictures, you know, Tiara is there, you know, Tessa is there, Tumini is there, you know, and I'm just like, okay, this is nice, but it seems like since season 1 and 2, is it like every time they do something fun, it has to be the beach? Because it's always the beach. They always go to some sort of beach something. And I'm like, it's been so many years. Like, can we change up the scenery a little bit? But anyways, then we see Lanre come over to Tessa and just ask her if she's comfortable, how's everything going? And then she's like, yeah, it's a bit awkward, just, you know, partying with my boss. But my question is now, who sent Tessa to now become Cardi B? Like, if you see the nails that she has, she couldn't even really hold her phone well. I was just so confused because I'm like, this is not Tessa's aesthetic. It would be one thing if like throughout the entire season we saw her with super long nails, but this beach scene and she's not carrying, you know, 3-inch nails. I'm just confused as to like where this is coming from. But anyways, it was super distracting for me. Let me know what you guys thought of that. It really just threw me off entirely. Then we see all the guys, you know, huddled around. Kojo is there, and at this point, the way that Kojo keeps coming to their link ups, I'm like, you might as well just include him in the series like properly, like give him a real storyline. Let's follow him. Let's see what's going on with him. Because y'all keep including him in the link up. So like, let's see like what Kojo does outside of handling business with the Garbas. But anyways, Lola then goes on to give a thoughtful speech about Lewis and love and all that great stuff. And that's when they do this thing, you know, whenever they have this link up with the guys, everybody kind of goes home with some sort of happy ending, which is what happens with Lewis and Lola, as well as Tumini and Aminu. And then we see Lanre and Tessa. Lanre, I guess, took her home and is like, oh, you know, Tessa's like, hey, this is me, this is where I live. And then they have like this exchange where Tessa is like, oh, don't, but then they like lean in and kiss each other. So yeah, that was interesting. And that's pretty much that. Then we fast forward to the next morning where, you know, Tumini wakes up and, you know, she has these rose petals on the bed and then a sticky note on the pillow. I thought the sticky note was strange as opposed to like a proper card or something, just like a sticky note. Then she comes down the stairs to find, you know, a balloon that says, will you marry me? And then like a heart of rose petals in which Aminu proposes. And looking at Tumini's face, I really just don't necessarily feel like she was going to say yes. And even in Aminu's, you know, speech to her, he's like, yeah, I know you're gonna feel like I'm an a-hole for doing this, but you know, I know you said you have some things that you want to finish before you get married, but I feel like we can finish them together. But Tumini just looked to me kind of like starstruck, and I'm wondering what she would say. But of course, we will not find out until the next season of The Men's Club. Now we move on to see Tayo in his office ordering all these things for the construction company. And that's when Hadiza rushes in and is like, you know, we lost the contract. And Tayo was like, please stop joking. And he's like, no, she's like, no, we really didn't get this contract. And so Tayo tries to call Funmi. She doesn't answer. And that's when he calls Tunde. And Tunde is like, oh, meet me at the restaurant, you know, next to your job. And I'm really irritated with this because I wish that Tayo kind of like had his own brain, because it seems like this whole time he's been following Hadiza's orders. Like, because if he would have used his own brain, he would have did what he said he wanted to do, which was wait for the contract to completely go through before ordering more materials and using more money from the loan. But no, because Hadiza was excited, she was like, no, go ahead. He started already ordering things using the more money from the loan. And now it's like his company is about to be in debt because they used the money to buy materials and they have no contract. That's when we move on to see Hadiza's boyfriend that we've been hearing so much about finally call her and say, oh, you know, you should come meet me and all these kind of things. And I'm like, okay, so is this a segue for them trying to say that next season they'll finally introduce us to her boyfriend? Because at this point, I don't think anybody cares. You know, this whole time she's had this boyfriend that we've never seen. I think now, me personally as a viewer, I see her more as Tayo's business partner more than I really care for what's going on in her personal life, to be quite fair. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Jasmine is parading around frantically around Patrick's office because her mother disappeared with the money as Aminu expected. So, you know, once the accountant comes in, Patrick is like, oh, who signed off on this? How much did you give her? Which is 100 million. And the accountant is looking at Patrick like, sir, you're the one who signed off on this to give her the money. So I'm wondering why Patrick is so shocked that, you know, Jasmine and her mom scammed him, because this is what they do. Like, I thought he would have learned his lesson over time, but, you know, I guess not. Then we see Tayo go to meet up with Tunde, who tells him that this was a revenge plot. Tunde is like, remember how you felt when you found out about Naomi? That's how I felt when I found out about Funmi, and you did this on purpose because you knew we were together to get back at me for the Naomi thing. And Tayo was genuinely telling Tunde, like, I had no idea that you guys were together. But Tunde is like, you know what? It's fine. This is my revenge. Good luck with your company that's in debt. Okay, so why bring Tunde back in to just scatter Tayo's life? Because Tayo was doing fine without Tunde. Now they brought this and now his whole life has turned upside down. And I really feel bad for Tayo because it seems like he can't catch a break. Everything in his life was finally just getting to like a stable position. And then Tunde and Funmi and everything just kind of came in and messed that whole situation up. But my thing is, I don't understand why Tunde is so mad. You slept with your brother's wife, had a whole child with her, and now when it's like she slept with your fiance, you're having an issue and you still feel like you want to do something more to get more revenge? Make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I feel like at that point you guys were on even playing field, but then you went extra out of your way to slight your own brother. Wow. Okay. Now, this was the most epic scene of the entire season. I don't think anything could have prepared us for this scene. Louis comes home and he finds that the house is kind of empty. Lola is not home. And, in his mind, he's thinking that she just took her mom to the airport to go back to London. In which it seems like Lola left, I guess, a voice note to tell him that she's going to London with her mom. I guess she overheard a conversation between Louis and Aminu at the beach, where Louis was saying that, he always wanted a big family. He never wanted his daughter Ola to be an only child like him. But he's comfortable being, just having Ola and not having any more children. I don't understand what was so bad about what he said that prompted Lola to just up and leave like that. That doesn't make sense to me. If anything, I think that was a good thing that he said that, if, we don't have any children because Lola's body doesn't want to do what she wants it to do, I'm fine with just Ola. Like, that wasn't a bad thing to say that would, I guess, prompt her to just flee. Like, I can't believe that this is happening. I really can't. I'm really speechless because I just felt like everything was starting to align for Louis, like Tonya signed the divorce papers, everything is about to be smooth sailing. Lola is now doing IVF. So how we come take Rich here? How we take Rich here? Like, no, how we take Rich here? Because I'm confused. And I'm like, if they wanted to write Lola's character off, I don't necessarily feel like this was the proper way to go about it. But yeah, like I'm just shocked. Like, I'm just speechless that this is happening. With that being said, let's go back and like go through each character's storyline. So it seems that next season we'll probably be exploring what Tayo is going to be doing now that his company has now gone into shambles. Maybe he'll take the loan from the guys and to pay back his current loan, at least, paying back his guys. There won't be any interest and stuff like that. But there's also the option where Tiara might say, just take a contract from my dad so that, you can stay afloat. Now we move on to Tumini and, Aminu. I'm like, okay, so it's either they're gonna get married, they're not gonna get married, but what's the next step for them? Then we see, Lanre and Tessa, they seem like there's this connection there. I think Lanre is the only storyline that had a good resolution throughout. Him and his mom reconciled, him and Tenny broke up, and now he's exploring something new with Tessa. Pretty good, And then lastly, Louis and Lola. I'm just like, what is going on there? Because if you guys remember, the last time Lola, I think, did something, left, whatever, that was how he fell back into the arms of Tonya, and that's how they ended up having Ola in the first place. So now I'm just like, now that they finally gotten everything squared away, they're divorced, like, is this a setup for Louis rather, to go back into the arms of Tonya? What is happening there? Like, it's crazy. So you guys, let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. Did you expect this shocking ending? They really got us with this one, and it definitely has me, looking forward to tuning into the next season, because I definitely feel like they focused this season on Lola and Louis. So I'm just like kind of wondering what that's gonna, like, how that's gonna work for the next season. They really focused on their love story majority of this season, so for this to happen was really, really, really much of a shocker for me, which is, I guess, is what they wanted. But without further ado, I'd like to thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this entire YouTube journey. I really started this, you know, with the men's club, and then when the men's club kind of went off air, I kind of went off air, and then life happens. More importantly, I would like to dedicate this video to my grandmother and grandfather, who are very dear to me, that I lost this year. So it's really been a long year for me. But you know, I'm still here, I'm still standing, and I'm still gonna do these reviews for you guys. And I'm gonna start reviewing, you know, more movies and stuff. I've been watching a few things. I watched Homewrecker on Netflix, and I also watched Tenny's Big Day on Prime. But you know, being that these are both films that came out, you know, last month, I'm gonna try to do more of the films that came out more recently, like Yahoo Plus and some other things. If you guys have any suggestions of like web series that I can watch, let me know down below. I'm already watching C-Bay, and then I've been watching Rofia Telelaran, but they kind of post when they feel like posting, so I kind of catch it when I can. I don't know when we're getting back Skinny Girl. I'm hoping, you know, that's something that's coming out within the next month or two. And yeah, you guys can let me know down below if there's anything that you guys would like me to review. Thank you guys so much for following me, you know, on this men's club journey, for watching me every week, for subscribing, for commenting, for liking once again. And you know, just stay tuned for everything that I have in store. I'm also, I think, gonna start doing, you know, like wig reviews, because the number one question that I always get from people is, where did you get your hair? Where did you get your hair? Where did you get your hair? So I'm probably going to start doing wig reviews. You know, if there's any hair that you've seen in any of my men's club review and you're like, where did you get that from? I'm probably going to create like an Amazon storefront, because I do get most of my hair from Amazon. So you guys can just click it and be like, oh, this is where she got this from. But yeah, that is it for the men's club new chapter. Make sure you guys subscribe, and I will see you in my next video next Sunday. Sometimes my videos go out earlier than Sunday if I have the time. Like this video is gonna definitely go out before Sunday, but on Sunday or before Sunday, you can definitely expect a video from me. And I'm doing a challenge in August where I post on YouTube Shorts every single day. So there's gonna be a YouTube short for me every single day. So I look forward to, you know, reading you guys' comments and things like that. And I will see you guys in my next video.